Hello everyone, welcome to Clever Director Python series. I am Manan Thakkar, and from today onwards we are ready to begin our journey of learning Python programming language. So before we start learning Python programming perspective, let me just make you aware about few things related to Python programming language. And generally it is always good thing to know everything about what you are looking to learn first of all, right? So before you learn Python programming language, why you should learn Python programming language, what is the history and what is the importance of this Python programming language, if you will be clear about that thing, so it will be the interesting journey for you to go ahead and to learn this Python programming language. So let me just make you aware about few things related to Python programming language. Look at this face first of all, the person which is there in front of your screen. Huh? I hope you are aware about that person. If not, so let me make you clear about him. He is Guido van Rossum, father of Python programming language. Again, I'm repeating, that person is Guido van Rossum, father of Python programming language. So this is the person who developed this Python programming language. If I tell few more facts about this Python programming language, so look at this two line. In 1989, very first time they have come up with or they have identified this Python programming language while working at National Research Institute at Netherlands. And remember, in 1989 at National Research Institute at Netherlands, they have identified this Python programming language, but they have not immediately released this Python programming language in market for general purpose usage. So look at again very next line. Python started getting available in market since 20th February 1991. Remember, Guido van Rossum, father of Python programming language, in 1989 at National Research Institute, Netherlands, he has identified such kind of, or he has developed a such kind of programming language. And afterwards, on 20th February 1991, from then onwards, Python programming language is available in market for general purpose usage. Now, one more thing or one more question that should get raised in your mind, that is, why they have given name like Python? Look at this. Whenever Python term comes in front of you, very first picture or very first imagination that we start thinking about is all about this Python type of snake. Now question is, why they have given name like Python, as Python is the name of, or we can say it is a category of snake. Look at the reason behind that name Python. Okay, now if I ask you right now, what is the or which one is your favorite television show? You have to say along with me, which is your favorite television show? You may say, I am big fan of, let's say, Kapil Sharma comedy show. You may say, I am big fan of Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma or anything, let's say. But that is, let's say, your favorite television show. At that time also, such kind of situation, Guido van Rossum was a big fan of this television show, namely Monty Python's Flying Circus. Remember that name. Guido van Rossum was a big fan of this television show, namely Monty Python's Flying Circus. And that television show was available over BBC channel, namely Monty Python's Circus. As Monty Python's Flying Circus was there, and Guido van Rossum was a big fan of this show. And meanwhile, he is also looking for, or he was also searching for some interesting name for his programming language. So by correlating this Flying Circus he has decided to go ahead with name Python. So because of this Monty Python's Flying Circus, he has given name like Python. I hope you are getting reason behind giving a name like Python. Okay. Now, before we understand Python programming language, remember few things related to Python programming language. If you will be good enough or you will be aware about that thing, it will be good enough for you to kickstart with actual journey of Python programming language. Remember one line. Python is a simple, general purpose, high level, object oriented and interpreted programming language. What I said? Python is a simple, general purpose, high level, object oriented, interpreted, and let me add one more line, dynamic type of programming language. Now, I said few characteristics related to Python programming language. But let's try to understand why I have said Python is a simple programming language, why I have said high level, interpreted, dynamic type of programming language. There is a meaning or there is a reason behind every single statement which I have explained. Before I explain why Python is a simple general purpose programming language, let me just make you clear about one thing. Now, government has already started initiative of assigning Python programming language during school level. So if student is during their journey of school level education, students started learning this Python programming language. So if that much simpler programming language is this Python, that's why I'm telling Python is a simple programming language. Any school level student also can learn this Python programming language. So it will be a not tough journey for you to kickstart and to learn many things related to Python programming language. Now, I hope why Python is a simple that should be clear to you. Meanwhile, before I explain why it is high level, why it is object oriented programming language, let me explain first two things first of all, and that is why Python is interpreted language and why Python is a dynamic programming language. Okay, so to understand that thing, look at this first of all, concepts related to C level programming language. Huh? Please try to understand fundamental concept related to C programming language. Okay. Look at this. Whenever you are starting journey to learn any programming language, generally people insist you to start and go ahead with learning C programming language, and they are claiming that if you want to learn Java programming language, C Sharp, any kind of programming language, then you must be aware about fundamental knowledge of programming language, and that's why you should start your journey with C programming language. So as I said, if you want to learn Java programming language, C Sharp, any other programming language, so people are claiming and general mentality is to learn C programming language. So my simple question is there any prerequisite to learn C programming language? You will say no. Same way, remember one more line. If you want to learn Python programming language, then also there is no prerequisite. You can start learning if you do not have knowledge of any kind of programming language. Now, to give answer of my that two line, why Python is a interpreted programming language and why Python is a dynamic kind of programming language. Look at this simple program written to display Hello Python Learner using C programming language. So can I say in C programming language, you supposed to start writing from has include stdio.h. Means from your header file only you need to start writing your program. Followed by has include conio.h, void main, then body of your main function, opening braces and closing braces. In between, to remove your previous output, you are writing clear screen. Followed by you are displaying printf to display any messages output. Hello Python learner. To keep watching your output on your output screen, your console screen, you're supposed to wait for some sort of input by using get ch. And look at this. After every statement, good practice is to write, or we can say requirement, not good practice, we can say, but requirement and need is to enclose your every single statement with semicolon. Now let me just run this output. Look at this. Hello Python learner is there on your screen. Now if we think to write same thing by using Python programming language. So look at this, how simple it is with the help of Python programming language. You're supposed to write like print, let's say, hello Python learner. I'm selecting this line, executing this line. Look at this console screen. Output is there in front of you. Hello Python learner. Now try to observe. In case of C programming language, how many line of code you have written? Line of code you have written. You may say around 8 line of code you have written to display Python learner, hello Python learner. Whereas in case of Python programming language, only single line of statement, print. Even without need of that semicolon, we succeeded to executing this, displaying simple message as our on our console screen. Observe, at one side we are writing 8 line of code. At another side, to achieve same thing, we are writing only single line of code. How simple and easy it is to code by using Python programming language. Meanwhile, look at this. In case of C programming language, what you supposed to do? You need to follow predefined structure. Means you need to start from including header files, followed by main function, followed by opening, closing, body, and in between you supposed to enclose your line of code. Whereas without need of such kind of static structure, we can directly write it down, print hello Python learner by using Python programming language. So can we say how statically we supposed to follow by using C programming language? Same way, if we follow Java programming language also, then we supposed to follow such kind of structure. If you do not aware about Java programming language, so do not worry as of now. But just try to understand, okay, in Java programming language also, you're supposed to start creating one class first. Class, let's say demo. The way here, void main method is there. Same way, in case of Java programming language also in class, you're supposed to write public static void main. In between body of that main method, you're supposed to write your code related to displaying message on your console screen. So can we say in case of C programming language, in case of Java programming language, you need to follow some sort of static structure. Whereas it is so easy and dynamic way to write code by using Python programming language. Now understand one more thing, let's say. If you want to perform summation of two things, then generally how you are writing in case of C programming language. Look at this. Let me write here integer x equals to 3, let's say. Again, I'm writing integer y equals to 5. And to store your output, I am writing integer z. Let me remove this line of statement as of now. Okay. Now, what you're supposed to do, let's say z equals to x plus y. And then in f, let's say summation equals to percentage d. And here you need to display value of z as a output. Look at this, summation is 8. But to perform simple summation, how many line of code we need to write by using C programming language? Look at this line of code. Whereas if we talk about performing same thing by using Python programming language, so look at this, we can write x y equals to, let's say 3 comma 5, z equals to x plus y, and let's say print summation is, and let's say value of z. Look at this, we are executing same scenario by using Python programming language by adding simple 3 line of statements. So can we say C programming language and Java programming language, you supposed to follow some sort of static structure. Whereas how easily, how in a simple manner you can execute your same functionality by using Python programming language. Now, again, make you aware about one more thing. Here, we have written, let's say x integer z, and let me display z equals to 2. What I have displayed, z equals to 2. Now, what will be the situation? Let me not even display anything over here. Look at this. It shows undefined symbol true. You cannot assign value true to your z because z is of type integer, can hold only numerical type of value. But look at this, what will be the situation while you are dealing same thing by using Python programming language? I am writing here z equals to true. I'm executing this. Look at this. No error get displayed over here. And meanwhile, try to observe this variable explorer also. Again, let me execute same thing. Observe type of your z, which is of type integer. Let me display over here type of z. Look at this, it shows integer. Whenever I am executing this z equals to true, and again if I execute type of z, it shows type of z is boolean. Now can we say in case of Python programming language, you can assign value dynamically at runtime of whatever type of value you want to assign to any kind of variable. In case of C programming language, understand you need to follow some sort of predefined structure. It's a static kind of language. You cannot change value of that variable by assigning value of different type. Whereas in case of Python programming language, you are permitted to dynamically assign value of any type and your variable will become of that type. The way initially it was of integer type and then after it become of type Boolean. I hope you are getting. Now, that's why we can call Python as a dynamic type of programming language. One more thing, try to understand. I said Python is a interpreted programming language also. What I said, Python is a interpreted programming language. Now, to understand why it is interpreted programming language, just understand whenever you are writing, let's say C program, what you're supposed to do after writing your C program, you need to compile your C program. What is the purpose of compiler? Compiler will convert your higher level programming language into your machine level programming language. But what will happen in case of C programming language? Whenever you are compiling your program, entire program will get compiled at a time. Means entire program will get converted into machine level programming language at a time. So we can call C language as a compiler oriented or compiler type of programming language. Whereas, as I said, Python is a interpreted programming language. To understand why Python is a interpreted programming language, look at this. What is the situation in case of Python programming language? You are executing statements of Python programming language line by line. Instead of compiling entire program at a time, what you are doing, you are interpreting line of code one by one. Understand? Again, I'm repeating. Instead of compiler entire program at a time, what you are doing, you are interpreting your program statement line by line, means one line at a time. So in case of compiler, you are compiling entire program at a time. In case of interpreter, you are interpreting your program statement one line at a time. Now, look at this. I can execute program statement line by line also. Look at this. Now, again, understand. Here I'm displaying int. Let's say hello. And here, while displaying message, I'm making some sort of mistake, let's say, by not putting your message into quotation. Let's say I'm making some sort of mistake. But still, let me try to execute this program. Look at this. Huh? Look at this. So what is the situation? Huh? What is the situation? Whenever I'm executing this line of code, whenever I am executing this line of code, you can execute this much line of code even without any error. But whenever there is a mistake, your interpreter will hold at that point. I hope you are getting and you are observing. Look at this. Though there is a mistake, it will not affect me to execute this three line of code. Whenever I'm executing this last statement, it make me stop by saying invalid syntax. Invalid syntax. I hope you are observing how exactly interpreter is working. In case of interpreter, you are executing your line of code one line at a time instead of compiling entire program at a time. So in case of compiler, you are compiling entire program at a time, whereas in case of interpreter, you are interpreting one line at a time. Now, if you are compiling entire line of code, entire program at a time, I hope you are getting it. If you are compiling entire program at a time, so to compile and to convert entire program and store that machine level language, means to convert higher level programming language into machine level, it will occupy large amount of memory. Whereas to interpret and to convert your higher level programming language into your machine level programming language, one line at a time, it will occupy lesser amount of memory. In case of compiler, entire program you are compiling at a time and converting into machine level language, it will occupy higher, larger amount of memory. Whereas here you are interpreting only one line at a time, so you are in need of very less amount of memory. Now, one more thing, as you are compiling entire program at a time in case of C programming language, so entire program at a time get converted into machine level programming language. Whereas in case of interpreter, it is interpreting line by line. So which one is quicker to execute, with the program which is entirely converted into machine level language, or program which get converted line by line into machine level programming language, machine level language? You can say entire program which is converted at a time into machine level program, machine level language. So can we say C programming language is little faster compared to your Python programming language because of its facility, because of its mechanism of compiling entire program at a time. I hope difference between compiler and interpreter should be clear to you. That's why we can call Python programming language as a interpreted dynamic type of programming language. I hope simple, interpreter, dynamic, this thing should be clear to you. Now, let's understand one more thing. Why Python is also called as higher level programming language. We know that generally we are classifying any programming language into one of three categories: machine level or lower level programming language, assembly level programming language, and high level programming language. Now, Python is a kind of programming language which is written by using simple English type of statement. So the way you are communicating in a daily basis, in a similar fashion, you can code your programming situation also, programming need also, by using simple kind of English type of programming statement. Try to remember what I have written: print. If you want to display any kind of message, so simply we have written print hello. So it's a simple and kind of programming language which anybody can understand. It's a human understandable programming language and written in such a way, the way we are communicating in English type of language. That much easier programming language it is, and that's why it is a higher level programming language. So I hope simple, higher level, interpreter, dynamic, this should be clear to you. One more thing, we know that C programming language is a procedure oriented programming language. C++, Java, object oriented programming language. Same way Python is also object oriented programming language. And why it is a general purpose programming language, that also we will understand. But right now understand, in case of Python programming language, all the different features of Python programming language are designed by combining features of multiple programming language. If I give you example, then look at this last four line. The way I said C is a procedure, or we can say functional programming language. So feature of function or feature of functional programming language is derived in Python programming language from C. As I said, C++ and Java are object-oriented programming language. So object-oriented programming concepts in Python programming language are derived from C++. Same way, scripting language feature in Python programming language are derived from Perl and Shell script. And modular programming features are derived from Modular 3. I hope up to this it should be clear to you. In Python, all these features are derived or extracted from by looking after different programming language. Now, if we talk about few things related to difference between Python version 2 and Python version 3. So let me just clarify. Whenever Python declared in market for the general purpose user, from then to up to now we have shifted from Python version 2 to Python version 3, and now Python version 2 is totally obsolete. But still, let me just make you clear about what is the difference between that previous version of Python, that is Python version 2, and current, that is Python version 3. And if you are looking to go ahead with current version, then it is, as of now, that is Python version 3.8.1. So let me just clarify difference between Python version 2 and version 3. Very first difference. In case of Python version 2, if you want to display any kind of message as an output, then you supposed to go with simple print statement. Look at this. In case of Python version 2, if you want to display message, so you have to display it like print hello. But in case of Python version 3, you need to enclose is like something like this. Hello. Can we say in case of Python version 2, in case of Python version 2, print was a statement, whereas in case of Python version 3, print is in the form of function. In case of Python version 2, if you want to read input at runtime from user side, so you're supposed to go with row underscore input. What are you supposed to go with? Row underscore input, your message. Whereas in case of Python version 3, if you want to take input from user, then let me say x equals to input. Let's say enter one value. You need to go ahead with input instead of row underscore input. Now, in case of Python version 2, default encoding mechanism was ASCII. Implicit string type was ASCII. Whereas in case of Python version 3, default encoding mechanism is UTF-8. Encoding mechanism is UTF-8. Now, look at this, that UTF-8 also. Whenever you will open this Anaconda and inside that spider IDE, you will observe very first line, encoding is UTF-8. Now, in case of one more difference, Python version 2, in case of Python version 2, if you want to go ahead with looping kind of scenario, so there was a function namely xrange. We will see how exactly that will work. Whereas in case of Python version 3, that function name is range. Instead of xrange, it is range. We will see one more thing in case of Python version 3, that whenever you will try to handle exception, during that exception handling mechanism, you need to encode as keyword. I hope that should be clear to you. Python version 2 and version 3 difference. And now understand last thing. By using Python programming language, what are the things you will be able to achieve? You will be able to develop desktop related application. Once we will begin with each inter concept, you will understand desktop related application, the way you are dealing with right now calculator, right, in your system, in your computer. We can develop desktop application. By using Python programming language, you can develop web application also with the help of concept like Flask and Django. That is also we are going to discuss. You can interact with database also, so database connectivity, networking related concept, game development, machine learning concept, artificial intelligence related concept, chatbot, IoT. All these latest trending technologies are working by using Python programming language. So can we say it's a general programming language? No matter what is your interested area to work with, whether it is machine learning, AI, chatbot, IoT, application development, anything, it is the good platform for you to go ahead by learning Python programming language. So just think, one programming language, and whatever you are looking to work along with, you will be able to work with. So why not to learn Python if that much features, that much functionality, that much flexibilities are there? So let's begin journey of learning Python programming language. I hope you have understand starting from father of Python programming language to application related to Python programming language. For any kind of query, you can ask into my comment section. Thank you for joining me. Thank you.